Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Cassie with AABC, and I'd like to welcome you to today's Tab Talk webinar. I also want to thank our sponsor, Ameritech, for supporting this session. Just a few items to cover before we get started. Our presenter today will be holding questions until the end of the presentation, but we encourage you to submit them at any time using the Q&A button. If you happen to experience technical problems during the webinar, please use the chat function to inform the panelists so that our producer, Will, can assist you. This presentation is being recorded and it will be available for viewing in 1 week. In terms of continuing education credit, everyone in attendance for the full webinar will receive a certificate of attendance sent to their email within 24 hours. And finally, if you're a certified TVE or TBT, your CEUs for attending any of our webinars will be automatically uploaded to your respective portal after the webinar. Today's webinar is Digital Solutions for TAB Firms. Please welcome today's speaker, Russell Taylor. Russell spent the first 22 years of his career working for Apex Tool Group in warehousing and logistics, computerized inventory control systems. For the next 15 years, he worked for Research Airflow, RDU, in various positions ranging from bidding, pre-engineering, project management, and he was an assistant manager for the RDU location with 10 field technicians. In May 2023, he joined Ameritech Data Solutions as sales manager software. Without further ado, I'd like to hand it over to Russell to kick us off.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Russ Taylor. Thank you for joining us for this webinar, and I hope you guys learned something today, and we look forward to doing the presentation, and we'll get started. First item for today, the learning objectives. We want to look at implementing the workflows for collecting and dissemination of current project-related documentation to all relevant departments within the organization, utilizing the digital platforms for project tracking from bid request to project closeout. During our travels throughout the season, going to various conferences, we come in contact with a lot of the TAB firms across the country. And the main item that we hear from the TAB firms is, if I could just have one or two more techs, I could do more work. Unfortunately, at this point in time, labor is very tight. So our only option is to actually automate and streamline our processes within the organization, basically doing more with less. So the first item that we'd like to talk about is the digital takeoff. So a digital takeoff permits swift counts of the equipment, the air distribution, and more by simply clicking on the mechanical prints provided in PDF format. The software should compile each item count on the individual PDF along with the equipment totals for the entire project. These totals could then be transferred to the Takeoff in the digital project management software to finalize the estimate for your customer. On the following example, once we've configured the system to recognize our categories, in this diagram or this mechanical PDF here, the yellow square rectangles represent the air handler units. Once again, that's been configured in the categories. The red squares, those are actually signifying the air distribution supply side for this, in this particular example, for rooftop unit 1. Down the bottom left-hand corner, we have the blue squares. Those are actually signifying and representing the supply side air distribution for rooftop unit 2. And if you'll notice the green, those are also for exhaust systems. That's the exhaust air distribution and the exhaust fan down here in the bottom. Once we've gone through the mechanical print and we've marked all the items that we're counting, the system should allow us a compilation or give us totals for the items that are on the band displayed. In this example here, this is a single mechanical PDF for this project. It doesn't matter if it's 1 page or 50 pages. It should software should be able to assimilate that information and keep it listed for us. So on this particular page, you'll notice over here we have the our categories are listed as air handlers, rooftop units, grills, exhaust fans. Keeps the total for that page. If there were multiple pages, there should be multiple entries here. Down in the bottom left-hand corner, this is an accumulating total for all the items associated with this project. So at this point, we could take this information and then transfer it over to our project management system in order to generate the estimate and the quote to go out to our customer. Within our project management, a digital project management system should allow you to be able to generate an estimate, custom quotes, batch email quotes, manage TAB projects once they've been awarded, and also track the technicians, our time, our expenses, invoices, job costs, and more. In this example here, we have the project management for this particular project. If you'll notice in the upper left-hand corner, we have a project number. We also have the project status, gives us what division if we have multiple offices. We also have scope of work. Inner center, it also gives us our project name, address, information, etc. We also should be able to reference back to our original proposal so we know where the information is coming from, who bid the project, costing, man hours, etc. The next item that should be able to be displayed in our project management systems is we're tracking the financials during the project management portion. We should be able to keep track of our change orders that are issued for this project, any alternates, any revisions, any information that would affect the financials that would go over to our accounting department. From there, we should also be able to do our invoicing. Also, within our project management systems, we should have the ability to track and keep track of the mechanical prints, addendums that are issued for the project, revisions, any correspondence that are coming from our contractors that we're working for that are associated to the project. All this information should be able to be compiled internally within the system, and that way anyone who has access to our system or who has clearance to look at those projects, they would have access to it as well. The data that has been stored should be stored in a cloud environment. That way we can have access to the information whether we're in the office, at our home computer, using a remote access portal of some sort. Also within project management, we should have the ability to send out an RFI for the project to our contractors. Basically over here on this side for this example, that is what project details would include. We also need to be able to send information to our technicians that are assigned to the project. So in this example, that's what the tech details would be. That would be information going out to our technicians that's relevant to this project. Hey, you're going to need an 8-foot ladder. We're going to have meet the contractor for on-site training, et cetera, et cetera. Once again, within project management, we should be tracking all of our change orders. In our experience dealing with customers that we have, the #1 loss of revenue is not keeping track of change orders. A lot of times the change orders are requested. Our technicians are on site. They say, well, yeah, we sent a change order to your main office. They're working that up. They're going to get approval. While you're here, if you would just go ahead and take care of the work. And the problem becomes is our technicians actually perform the work and we report it. It's just that the office isn't able to keep up with all the change orders that actually happen with that project, or it gets neglected. Within the project management system, there should be a way of keeping track of your change orders. There should be a change order log that you're able to run that shows change orders associated for each of the projects that are in the system. And therefore, if we get to the end of the month and we're looking for extra billing, we can go to that change order log to find extra funds that are there. So once again, project management should be our core. It should be the main program that is pushing information out to our other areas, whether it's the time tracking for scheduling, the reporting system for where we do pre-engineering, field data collection. Project management software is managing your whole firm. So it keeps track of the bids for the requests coming in. We also would recommend that the project management software that you utilize, once again, it interfaces with all systems in all areas of your organization, whether it's scheduling, whether it's invoicing on your accounting side, collection of payments, and all the documents associated with each individual project that's actually awarded be maintained in one central location. That way, everyone that has access or needs access to that project based on the security levels would see that information and have access to it as well. Once their project's awarded and it's ready to be scheduled and set up, digital reporting, that should be your system that would allow for all the pre-engineering for the project, whether it's in field or whether it's done internally. With digital reporting, you should be able to collect data in the field with or without internet access. You should be able to synchronize data on demand, build static pressure profiles for the individual equipment that's on site. We should be able to mark up our mechanical drawings. We should include a supplemental documentation, capture deficiencies or punch list items, and preferably have photos that we can collect directly from your device. That way we can send to our contractors that we work for. It can automatically generate your table of contents and print calibration certificates with your instruments list. Plus, it automates the data collection process using a markup system to input readings directly on the mechanical prints in PDF form. In this example, you'll notice that we have a mechanical print. We have the items marked up or layers created for those individual items. In this particular example, the yellow circles signify air distribution. The blue rectangles signify the VAVs for this particular project. You'll also notice in this particular example, we've selected those items. We have pulled forward the air distribution forms associated with those. The pre-engineering has been completed. We are showing that's associated with VAV 1-08, so this will be a VAV calibration. The technician should be able to enter his information and make his adjustments according to the information on the form there. The next item we'd like to discuss is the digital time tracker. Digital time tracker enables the employees to punch in and out on the projects, request time off, upload expenses for projects, manage schedules, and interfaces with the TABopts with the project management system for project costing. In this example, for the time tracker, we would present a calendar for scheduling. You would actually in this example, you would click on the date that you want to schedule. The employees are listed over there on the left. You would simply select the schedule your employees based on that. In this example, we have also over on the left, we can access a timesheet, dashboards. We can define our users for the system. Expenses are uploaded. If you have a technician that's on site, he's got parking receipts or other items like that. If he had to buy a piece of equipment or whatever for the project, he would be able to upload a receipt for that expense, and that would be transferred back to the home office when it's entered into the system. And once again, a technician or employee should be able to request time off for those systems. Within for commissioning, the digital commissioning, the needs for the commissioning, we have you can need be able to generate question and answer sets for pre-functional checklist and for the functional checklist. In this example here, this is a typical HVAC commissioning form. We have the ability to post the questions. We have the ability to answer the questions, yes, no. If there's an issue, we can log those issues with a discrepancy form. The discrepancy form should be able to be sent and generated to our contractor. The contractor should have the opportunity to review those items, make corrections, and then post the response for that. And basically, those are the 4 systems that should excuse me. Those are the 4 systems that you should be interested in and looking at for a digital platform. Once again, if we're doing takeoffs, we need some form or some way of marking up our drawings. That way we can keep track of those items, get a complete total count for the project that we move into our estimate. Our estimate go to the estimate for project management. Within our project management systems, we should be able to generate our estimates using the counts that were provided by the takeoff. Once the estimate has been completed, those items should be able to move seamlessly from the estimate over to the quote side. The quote side should be able to be generated and submitted to our contractors that we're working for. Once the quotes are submitted to our contractors, and once they've been awarded, once it comes back to our firm saying, hey, we've been awarded this project, those items should be able to be tracked seamlessly through the system. Once again, if the overall goal is to have improved efficiency, effectiveness, and productivity. So if we enter information into one system, it should flow seamlessly from project management over to the reporting, or from project management over to takeoff for estimating. The information should flow back and forth. We should not have to enter multiple items, the same item multiple times into different systems, or look for mechanical prints and different storage locations throughout the organizations, whether it's in an online service or it's our internal server. You know, as long as all the information is compiled and kept in one central location. Are there any questions or comments at this point?
As a reminder, if you have questions, you can drop them in the Q&A. That button's at the bottom of your screen. To keep the conversation going, Russell, what are some of the typical financial gains that a TAB firm could expect if they decide to use a digital platform?
Some of the financial gains that we have seen with the customers that we have dealt with, generally you get if you take and install the digital platform across the board, where you take care of your estimating, your takeoff, project management, reporting, etc. Generally, we see gains anywhere from 8 to 12% in revenue the first year. And the reason being, like I said, you're instead of entering information in multiple locations multiple times, enter information one time, it flows through the system. Using the digital platform, our technicians are able to actually upload and download information on site using the Surface tablets or their internet connections. That way we don't have, if our technician is 2 or 3 hours away from the office, we don't have to wait for them to actually come back to the office. When they're getting ready to leave the site, they can sync the information. The information comes back to the office. As our technician is driving to his next job or back to the office personnel can be trimming the project out, the report out. They can be doing the certifications. They can upload the certificates. We can do any of the information without having to have a physical piece of paper. It's all digitized. So therefore, the technology allows us to transfer the information seamlessly.
All right. One question, how do you see digital solutions working for tab firms, whether it's a larger tab firm or a smaller one? How do you see the digital solution work, depending on the size of the firm?
Most digital platforms, they work for any size of the firm. It's scalability, right? So you can have a one-man shop that has just himself. He does all the bidding, he does all the job setup, he does all the pre-engineering, he actually does all the work in the field, and then he's able to certify his report and send out. A digital platform that's across a larger firm that has multiple locations. The process is very similar, to the single man shop. It's just you replicate it across those different office areas. The platform itself should allow you to isolate those offices individually. So if you have the main office and then you have 2 or 3 satellite offices, depending on what management decides that they want to give access to, satellite office 1 may or may not be able to see information associated with satellite office 2. Once again, depending on the management structure, how they want to share information amongst those areas. Or you can actually have those 3 offices working in tandem. You can transfer a technician from office number 3 back to the home office, or give him access to information or jobs that are set up for satellite office number 1, so that those you can utilize. Everyone is being trained and utilized on the same system. So there is a gain in efficiency just right there, because if you take a technician, reassign him from the home office to satellite office 2 or satellite office 3, everyone's on the same system. Everybody understands the same processes. Everybody's been trained the same way. So you don't have to worry about different forms or different processes or standard of operations being performed in different locations with a different crew.
All right, another question that just came in. For scheduling purposes, are technicians notified through email, or do they have to have, for your software specifically, do they have to have it installed on a laptop or something?
In our system specifically, it can be customized to whatever the requirements are of the management team. If it is actually scheduled through our scheduler, the system can be configured to email the technician directly and say your schedule has been updated. You are now assigned to this project on Wednesday, 8 to 4, whatever the time frame that the management team decides, or the scheduler. In our system specifically, that email can be configured to show any information associated with that project for that technician. He can receive the scope of work, project number. They download the information, all the pre-engineering is there, so they have everything that they need. The email can be configured to send it to the technician or to that person and copy their manager. Once again, our systems are 100% customizable, so whatever the requirement is, we configure that to our customers' needs.
All right. Another question coming in, how does the pricing model work for a system like this? Depending on the size of the crew, number of offices, what's the general pricing structure for a digital platform like this?
Generally, in the digital market for this type of a platform, as I said, generally there is a one-time license that's set up, and then it's a transferable license. You can have those assigned or reassigned as your employees change, or the needs for the employees change. And then generally after that, there is a monthly reoccurring for the data that is transferred back and forth. Some firms charge for the size of the project or the number of projects. Some firms charge for the amount of data that's transferred monthly. And then some firms just have a simple monthly, kind of like a cell phone plan. It's unlimited data, for this amount of money.
And this person was also wondering, is there a mobile app available for, do a lot of the programs have a mobile option?
A lot of the digital platforms have a mobile app available. And with the mobile app, in our firm or in ours, the mobile app is available, and it is usable across multiple platforms. Some systems are configured to work with the Windows environment. Some are configured to work with Apple's environment, and then some are, but generally the mobile is a web version or a web tool thing. So that way it works across multiple platforms, whether it's an Apple iPhone or if it's a Android, Samsung. As long as it has an internet connection and is able to connect to the internet, generally that platform will work across multiple devices. The issue that you have with that is it may not be as robust as a Windows environment system or Apple's environment system. And the simple reason is right now, using web technology, you cannot replicate a lot of the things that you do on the desktop. The desktop version is much more powerful. But generally, the web tool or environment is strictly for data collection.
Another attendee asked, we're starting to hear about new estimating software that's based with AI. Do you expect AI to be used in the future for systems like this?
I do expect the AI to be used more readily. The issue you have with AI is, I know any of you that have looked at mechanical prints, the ones that are coming out recent or current, they're great. They're really clear and crisp and clean. Now, some that are older prints, some have a little bit of a smudge or a gray hue to it. The AI that we're working with has difficulty distinguishing that. The ones that are clean and crisp, it does not have any issue with. It's the ones that have the little smudge or the gray. Even the human eye on some of those prints have difficulty. Is that a 5 or is it an 8 or is it a 3? So AI has the ability to read those prints. And generally what happens is it will look for, say, a supply diffuser. It'll recognize that symbol. And then you have to find the mark that shows, okay, this is the 10-inch round. This is 240 CFM. So there is not a standard, and really and truly you can't, because sometimes it just depends on where you can get the information on the print. So AI has to be able to look and says, okay, this is a supply diffuser. Find the documentation that tells me this is a 10-inch round, 240 CFM, et cetera, et cetera. Is it to the left of the diffuser? Is it at the top of the diffuser? Is it below the diffuser? So where is it in relationship to that actual diffuser on the print? So AI has to basically find the diffuser and then rotate 360 degrees around that diffuser just to find the information associated with it. And then, so that's what it has trouble with, is having to rotate around that diffuser to find that one value. But yes, at some point, it will get to, AI will get to the point where it can read that print by doing just that, rotating around the supply diffuser to find the actual values associated with it.
All right, thank you for that. Another question that relates to, digital reporting in general, are these customizable to look like, this person asked, is this customizable to look like our current reports? What's the customization like on some of these digital platforms?
There are multiple options for your report forms. Some digital platforms, they do not allow you to have customization. They have a standard form that you're able to utilize. And then some firms, they are able to take the custom forms that you have and you've created over the years, and they're able to actually map those into their systems, and that they look and act, especially if they're Excel based, because generally that's where you get your calculations and your functions, formatting functions from an Excel generated form. They're able to actually map those into their systems. And yes, they look on the screen, they look exactly like the forms that you're used to using. And generally, if you're doing that and they have the ability to map those, you have a quicker turnaround time because the technicians or your office personnel, they're used to using that form, so they don't have to learn a new format. So once again, that increases their efficiency, effectiveness, and productivity.
Right. And following kind of the AI conversation and the conversation about these digital platforms in general, how do you see digital solutions like this shaping the future of the tab industry?
Well, once again, as we travel across the country to all these different conferences, the number one thing that we hear is we just can't get enough manpower. We can't get enough help. So we have to automate the office. We have to automate the process. We have to streamline everything to get the gains that we need to keep functioning and meeting our customers' demand without the additional manpower. You know, and it's particular to HVAC test and balance simply because it's a niche field, but it's across the whole construction industry, right? Folks are getting older, they're retiring, and not as many young people are coming in. So we have to find a way forward to utilize the manpower that we have, and the only option we have is we have to automate, we have to streamline. If there's something that the system can do, we need to embrace that, use that, and continue to make sure that the company is profitable and positive toward the finances, right? Did that answer your question?
Yes, that was great. Thank you. Um, Another question, what are some of the most critical aspects of project management that can benefit from a digital platform like this, like Ameritech's or like another digital platform?
Well, once again, in our contact with the customer base that we have, the number one loss of income item is ladders, right? So that's the biggest expense for a tab firm is the loss of ladders. The second biggest expense is the loss of that change order. Like I said, change orders are there for a reason. You know, is to make sure that we get paid for the work that we're doing. So it's not uncommon for our contractor or someone on site to walk up to our technician and say, well, while you're here, I would like for you to check this. And of course, our technician wants to be as helpful as they can, you know, so they do the requested work, submit the requested work, but it never gets to the office that additional work or the scope of work changed, and therefore, you know, we are justified in additional billing to our customer. So in some of these digital platforms, our technician can actually submit a change order while he's on site. He fills out the form that's associated with the project. He hits the submit button, syncs the information. It goes up to the office. Hey, I've been requested to um, do additional work in suite 101. I'm doing 3 VAVs, 15 diffusers, whatever the count may be. And then the office is able to actually process that through, get the change order out to the customer, complete the billing on our side, you know, as far as the tab firm. And that way we're recovering funds that were in the past, quite frankly, just overlooked, you know, because the technician is trying to be helpful to our customer, keep our customer happy, keep them satisfied. It's just that the information didn't get back to the office. and therefore get processed. So change orders, if you have any, generally that's the biggest loss for a TAB firm, is the change order process is not followed through or completed, and it just gets lost in the shuffle.
All right, and Russell, what role do you see digital tools and automation playing in modernizing the TAB process overall?
The firms that we have come in contact with that that we have helped, they literally went from paper and pencil, folders, printed mechanical drawings, over to the digital platform. And actually, it simplifies life. Yeah, everything is contained in one location. I can't speak to others, but in our system, we have a dedicated server for that firm that signs on with us. That information is stored there. It's their information. It's not commingled with others. So you need to really be careful when you look at your platforms, because some of the specifications, or especially government contracts, they say there's no commingling of your data with someone else's. So you need to make sure yours is in a secured server that is specific to that firm. So a lot of the specifications require that, and so that's one thing you have to look at to make sure that the platform that you're using is actually meeting the specifications required for those particular projects. Does that answer your question?
Yes, thank you. An additional question, we've talked a lot about the project management side and the benefits of digital platforms in general. What are some of the specific benefits of using a digital system like this for reporting on a job?
So a digital platform for reporting. So as our technician arrives on site, one of the first things they do is they go to the job trailer, they check the documents, the mechanical prints that are on site, to confirm that the TAB firm has done the pre-engineering based on the latest drawings. So if they get on site and there is an update or a revision that has not been submitted to the office per se and pushed out through pre-engineering, using a digital platform, the technician can actually make changes on site. So therefore, he's updating the pre-engineering or the report forms as he's going through the system, instead of waiting for, if pre-engineering is backed up by a couple of days or weeks, he can actually make changes on site, submit those changes, and once the changes go up to the office, get approved, now our certified report or our report, preliminary report, whichever it is actually current with the drawings that are on site. And once again, he could also process the change order back up through the system to make the office aware of it. Does that answer your question?
Yes, thank you so much, Russell. This has been a great discussion. Is there anything else that you want to add about digital solutions for TAB work before we wrap things up?
Just my own personal experience, as you alluded to earlier, I come from the TAB industry. Prior to using a digital platform, we were paper and pencil. We came of age during COVID. Of course, our guys are all considered essential workers, but it limited contact with the office. So the technician could actually receive his work, go do his work, enter his information into the system, upload the information to the system, and then the office would have all the information. It didn't matter if he was 5 minutes down the road or 3.5 hours away. Once the information is uploaded to that digital platform and the office can actually see it, they don't have to wait for travel time back to the office to turn in a report. They can make changes. And if it's an extended project, you can actually review and approve certain sections. First floor is complete, second floor is complete. you can actually review and approve as the technician is working through the project. The digital platform also gives you a grand overall view. So the digital platform will allow you to see, okay, my technician is making his mark. I expect him to be at this position by Friday. The system can keep track of that. Any digital platform should be showing you where you're at on your project. Are you 15% complete? Are you 80% complete? Once that information is entered into the system, it's uploaded, it's available to everybody who has access. And that way, when our contractor calls in and is requesting, am I going to get my certified report by Friday, we have an overall view of the complete project. We know he's 80% complete or wherever he's at. And it's not to actually beat up the technician. What it is to allow us to ask the question of the technician. Do you need assistance? Is there something you need? Do you need access to control? Do you need control support? So the digital platform gives us a really good view of everything that's going on within the organization. From the project management side, the PMs can look out and say, okay, I'm running low on work. 6 months from now, I'm going to need something. So he can talk to the estimating department, say, hey, we're getting a little thin. I need a couple extra projects to come in here. So we can adjust our pricing on the front end. And on the same side, if we're overloaded, we can talk to estimating and say, we either got to hire some more people or we can raise our price. We can get a little more profitability out of these projects. So the digital platform allows you to pull everything together, allows you to run all the reports you need to see, where are we at, as a firm itself, and make plans accordingly. That's probably the greatest thing that I would say about a digital platform. It gives you the overall view of where the business is and all the information you need to make the best decisions going forward.
All right, thank you so much, Russell. We appreciate you presenting and your insights, and thank you again to Ameritech for sponsoring today's webinar. Last but not least, thank you to everyone who joined us today. Before we wrap up, I want to let you all know that registration opened this week for the Eastern Regional TAB Seminar, which is happening March 25th in Baltimore, Maryland. So we hope you can join us for that. And thank you so much again for attending today's webinar, and we will see you next time.